Thank you. I'll throw to you an online question, a question that's come in. The United States doesn't seem to walk the talk in terms of its climate change policy. I guess just to elaborate some of that, the U.S., as your husband, failed to sign the Kyoto agreements, and now we're going towards Copenhagen. The U.S. is perceived as protecting big business interests at the expense of the environment. How would you answer this?
Well, you know, back when my husband and Al Gore were in the White House, there was so much less understanding in the United States of climate change. And we were very active in negotiating Kyoto. Of course, Al Gore was instrumental in it. But our Congress rejected it overwhelmingly. And then for 8 years, we had a president whose administration denied climate change. But I want you to just think about what we've done in the last 9 months. Is we passed a big stimulus bill with $89 billion for clean energy technology, which we are now rolling out. We have, through regulation, increased the emission standards on cars and on utility plants. So we're not waiting for congressional action. We are moving ahead in the Obama administration. And we passed a very aggressive bill out of the House. So we've passed it in one House. We're working in the Senate. But we're going to go to Copenhagen 100% committed to creating a framework agreement. We doubt that we can get to the legally binding agreement that everybody wants because too many countries have too many questions. But we do think that we can come up with a very strong framework agreement, and we encourage countries like the Philippines to be prepared to take advantage of the financing that the developed countries will put forward for adaptation. And that's how we see the potential progress coming out of Copenhagen.
Pinky?
We still have time for questions.
We still have her.
Okay, here. All right. I'm curious, Secretary Clinton, to find out about your talks with President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. Did she say if she was stepping down in 2010 or if she's planning to run for Congress?
Well, we didn't get into that. We talked about climate change. We talked about Burma. We talked about all of the regional and global issues, certainly the economic recovery, the natural disasters that you have been coping with, and what more we can do to help. We had a really very comprehensive discussion about issues. But I think that what we see as our partnership and our friendship with the Philippines goes from administration to administration to administration. We are committed to the people of the Philippines. We are committed to the democracy of the Philippines. We have many Filipino Americans who are in constant contact with friends and relatives here. And the President was very focused on looking at what kind of progress we could make in the remaining months of her term as President.
All right, Secretary, you know, we've got so many people online who are trying to get a little bit of their questions in. Let's see what we're seeing online through abs-cbnnews.com. So far, there are 1,800 online viewers in our chat room. Carl gets straight to the point. Would you like GMA to extend her term after 9 years in office? I think you already answered that to some extent with Pinky's question. And finally, R82 has a question that concerns a lot of Filipinos. When will the U.S. change its immigration policies? Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Great Britain have been employing thousands of Filipinos through skilled migration via point system. Any plans for the U.S. to do something like that?
Well, we're hoping that we can achieve comprehensive immigration reform, which is something that I feel very strongly about. I championed it as a senator from New York. I championed it in my presidential campaign. You know, we have so many priorities. I mean, I can't even adequately describe what it was like coming into office 8 years after the prior administration, when problems had been stacked up. It felt like there were thousands of planes circling in the air that we had to bring safely to a landing, and immigration reform is one of those. The President's focus has been so directed toward health care reform, which is something that is long overdue, something that my husband and I worked on. So we hope to get to comprehensive immigration reform, and then this issue will be part of the legislation that we introduce.
Well, Mrs. Clinton, I want to bring it back a little bit to you. You talked about your life in politics and how it's affected your family. It has had an effect on your family. If you go back and look over decisions you and your husband have made, is there anything you would change?
Oh, of course, of course. There are many things. I mean, I mentioned one of them, healthcare. I wish that we had taken a different approach or been more successful back in 1993 and 1994. I think that anytime you're in politics, as long as Bill and I have been, and you are involved in making so many decisions, hindsight is 20/20. It's like being the coach on the couch watching a basketball game, and you're thinking you should have done that and you should have done this. Well, we can look back and say there are many areas where we would have liked to have pursued it differently or made a different call at the time. But overall, I'm very, very proud and grateful for the service that we've had. I think that my husband's 2 terms in office, the work that I did in the Senate, now the work I'm privileged to do with President Obama, is aimed at very clear efforts to improve the lives of people and to give people who are willing to be responsible the tools to improve their own lives. I mean, I don't believe government is the answer to everything. I do not believe that. I think that any society rests on a strong leg. It's like a 3-legged stool, a strong leg of a functioning government that responds to the will of the people, a functioning market economy that creates opportunities for people, and then civil society, which includes faith communities and organizations that create all of the positive energy that often is most meaningful in a person's life. So you have to look and say, well, are you furthering the goals of your society? And I feel very very positive about what we've tried to do.
But what about the personal impact of having this power on your family?
Well, I think that, it is a choice that people make. No one says you must go into politics, you must stay in politics, but it's the kind of service that Bill and I have been called to do, and we're very grateful that we've had a chance to do that.
Okay. Pinky, do you have any?
A message to the Filipino people, Secretary Clinton, please.
Well, it is such an honor. This is my 3rd trip to the Philippines, and it is such an honor to be back. And I look forward to returning in the future because our friendship and our partnership is one that I highly value and that President Obama wants to broaden and deepen, that together we can make a difference for the people of the Philippines and improve the future for our world. I think also we are enriched in the United States by the many contributions of Filipino Americans. I count many among my friends, and I have learned a great deal from them, and I am so grateful for their contributions both in the United States and back home here in the Philippines. So I wish all of you well, and we will continue to work with you, to support you, to provide assistance as we've done on many occasions, most recently in the wake of the terrible natural disasters, because we want to see the Philippines continue to grow and prosper. That is our only interest in being your friend and being your partner, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you all very much.
And that's all the time we have. On behalf of all the men and women of ANC, the ABS-CBN News and Current Affairs Division, and ABS-CBNnews.com, we would like to thank the University of Santo Tomas and all the students gathered here at the UST in Manila for taking part in this special forum with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
A big thank you, too, to the students of Silliman University in Dumaguete and our correspondent, Tony Velasquez, and the students of Ateneo de Zamboanga and our correspondent, Ces Oreño Drilon, for joining us today.
And ABS-CBN would like to thank the State Department and the U.S. Embassy for giving us this opportunity to speak and be heard, to ask and get answers from Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton, who's taken time from her whirlwind visit to the Philippines. You've been watching Hillary Clinton, the Manila Forum. Thank you. Have a good day. Mabuhay!